Welcome to the Sanity Project podcast, the place for internet technology professionals whose work-life balance plan has imploded. We are here to provide solutions that will help the IT pro live a sane, healthy, and prosperous life. Here's your host, Joanne Victoria.
Hi, I'm Joanne Victoria, and I'm the host of the Sanity Project podcast. I partner with IT professionals in telecommunications, technology, entertainment, and mass media industries whose work-life balance plan has imploded and who want more success, more confidence, more fun, and more inner peace. I interview experts in the areas of leadership, anxiety, relationships, money, health, wellness, spirituality, stress, communication, mindfulness, and self-development, to name just a few. And our guest today is an expert in life. His name is Jim Phillips, and Jim is a speaker, author, and certified life strategist. For over 30 years, Jim has been an entrepreneur and business leader. His true passion is the exploration and application of spiritual law as it applies to prosperity and overall quality. One of Jim's gifts is his ability to help others understand and apply spiritual concepts to their personal life. This led to the development of his life coaching program. Jim's book, The Key to Life, Living in Full Expression, L.I.F.E, is the result of a knowing he had a very specific message to share of our connection to divinity. This message was to be shared when the time was right, and that time is now. Jim will be speaking about how to remove layer upon layer of untruths that have been heaped upon us to help reveal the truth of who we are. That's to help reveal the truth of who we truly are. Welcome to the show, Jim Phillips.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you for that introduction.
Well, you deserve that and more, but that's all I have for now.
Okay.
So,
well, you don't need to say any more, but I appreciate all that.
Talk to us about living in full expressions and our connection to the divinity by living in full expression.
Well, the first thing that I would say is it really would call into question a person's life perspective. And that would begin with who are we and why are we here? And I can say that as a collective. Who is humanity? Why are we here on this planet? What's the purpose for being here? And I guess let me just give a little bit of background first, and I'll get into this more precisely, because where I get a lot of my information, it's certainly through reading and engaging with other people who do similar work and through other experiences that I've had. But I also get a lot of information when I go on walks in the morning, and it's a time that I've come to call being immersed in the silence of the dawn. And I can go out and I can have a particular question, I can have something that I'm working on, I can have an issue that I'm going through. And I would just ask the question when I go on these walks in the morning, and it's usually around 5:30 or so, usually really dark. I'm usually one of a few people that are out there. I'll ask a question. I'll typically get a response fairly quickly. And when I say get a response, it comes from wherever that information comes from. And I'll just leave that to everybody else's determination as to where that information comes from. But it typically comes in a phrase, it could come in a word, and it will have something to do exactly with what it was that I was thinking about or what I was needing an answer to. And I'll give a quick example. When I was writing my book, The Key to Life, Living in Full Expression, I was writing it and I was moving along pretty quickly with it, and then all of a sudden I was having some difficulty writing. And it wasn't writer's block. It was this thought that, who am I to write a book? Who am I to put this kind of information out? Who am I to think somebody's going to buy? All those things that I have heard from many other authors, they go through as well. So I was going through this, and I was just very much challenged by it. And yet, I felt like the information that I was putting in the book was information that was being given to me to not only benefit me as I went through my life, but also to benefit other people through the work that I do. When I'm on the walk, I asked the question, and I said something like, here I believe I have this information that's coming to me that I'm supposed to write, supposed to share. I know it's for my benefit. why am I having such a difficult time with it? Or why is it that I'm questioning whether or not this is something for me to do or information that I have to get benefit? And almost immediately the response was, we wouldn't be inspired to do something if it wasn't intended to be. That was the answer. And it came in that full phrase. And it was a profound statement for me because it rang so true. And it is true as far as I'm concerned. I believe that every inspiration we're given, and I was inspired to write the book, is given to us because it's intended. And I took that and I continued writing the book, and everything was going along really well. And then it was right as I was finishing the book, I had that moment that, again, I know a lot of writers have. And it's like, okay, now I finished the book. What am I supposed to do? And I already had a publisher lined up. So that was all taken care of, but it was the marketing of it. It was now that I have the book, getting it out there and wanting people to read it, and wanting to have all the things that I think we look for when we write a book. So I was challenged again with it. Went back out on a walk, and again, it was early in the morning. And I said, I wrote the book. I know I was inspired to do this. I feel really good about it. I think it's great information, but I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go with it. I don't know how I'm going to market it. And it was just one of those overwhelming things, and made me realize really that writing the book's the easy part. It's after you get it written and after you have to get it out there to the world that the more difficult part of writing a book comes into play. While I'm on the walk, I asked the question again, what is it that I'm supposed to do? And immediately I got the first part of the quote, which was the one from before. You wouldn't be inspired to do something if it wasn't intended to be. And then I got the second part in this second walk that I was taking, and it was, if it is intended to be, all for it to be will be provided. And there was this tremendous sense of relief that I didn't have to worry about it, that I knew there was going to be opportunities for me to get the book out there. It didn't mean it was going to become a bestseller. It just meant that I was going to have opportunities. I was going to meet people. I was going to be able to get the book into the hands of people that were intended to have the book. So getting back to the initial question, that's really where I get a lot of my information, is going on these walks, asking questions, going through my own life experiences, and understanding that that information is available to all of us. And I don't tell this story because I want to make it seem as though I have some special gift. It's not a gift that I have. It's a gift that all of us have. It's the opportunity we all have to talk to, in my opinion, the divine, the source of all. And it's just a matter of asking questions, and it's a matter of receiving it, accepting it, and then acting on it, and not just making an assumption that what you're hearing is your own voice or your own mind speaking back to you. And I have followed that process for quite some time now, and have been able to overcome some challenging times that I've gone through. I've had some wonderful experiences as a result of it. And then a lot of what's in the book, in fact, I think there's 43 or 44 quotes that are in the book that, for the most part, I got during these walks, this time, again, being immersed in the silence of the dawn. So this has all led me to where I am right now in terms of the life coaching that I do, and the life coaching, or being a life strategist. The word life does stand for living in full expression. So the idea is that what I do is I help people through our strategy sessions come to the understanding of who they are. And this is not me telling them. This is me helping them come to the understanding of who they are. And then they live in full expression of that. Because when we come to the understanding of who we are, that's really getting to the truth of who we are. It's getting to our essence. And then when you live in full expression of that, that is our purpose for being here. It's for living in full expression of our truth. Now, having said that that's our purpose for being here, the purpose for any of us being here, humanity being here, as far as I'm concerned, and this was another one of those quotes that I got during a walk, because I asked the question, why are we here? Because there's some, all you have to do is listen to the news, turn on the TV, listen to whatever, and we get bombarded with all this stuff. And it would appear that the world is in total chaos, or that we're I don't know, whatever. I mean, there's just a lot going on. And I was concerned about that. And I wanted to understand why we're here. Why are we doing all these things that we're doing to one another? Why do we do the things that we do to ourselves that cause such stress and disease and all the other things that create a life other than what I think most of us would say we would want to have. And the answer I got on the walk was that the purpose for us being here is the progressive realization of the truth. And again, that was another one of those profound statements to me that really answered the question. We're here to discover the truth. We're here to realize the truth. It's not about discovering it. It's about realizing the truth. And through that realization, we come to the realization of who we are. And then as we come to that realization, then our purpose as me, Jim Phillips, or anybody as who they are, is living in full expression of that truth. Again, whatever that is. And a lot of people will say that they're looking for their life purpose. And they'll say that their life purpose is to be a singer or to be a writer or to be any number of things that people might say this is their life purpose. That's not their life purpose. That's how their life purpose is carried out. Their life purpose is living in full expression of their truth. They do that through their art. They do that through their writing. They do that through whatever it is that they've chosen to do that brings them that satisfaction and fulfillment. So really part and parcel, this is the work that I do and how I've been able to help people remove those layers of untruths. And the untruths are really basic, simple, limiting beliefs that I think most of us are aware of. We probably don't acknowledge it and actually say that this is true about me, but I think we have these. And it's, writing the book. Who am I to think that I should write a book? I'm not good enough. Well, that's not true because I've never written a book before. So how would I know that I'm not good enough to write a book? Yet I held that limiting belief about myself that I could not write a book or that nobody would buy it. Or other limiting beliefs we have when we look at the lives that other people lead and they have, let's say, have a bigger house or a better job or more money, or they appear to be in a better relationship that we are in. And we can look at them and say that their life is better than ours. I'm not worthy of that relationship. I'm not worthy of that amount of money or that type of job. And yet it's not true. And yet we hold those beliefs. So that's a lot of what I do, was helping people understand that all these things that they continue to see in the world, that they hold on to for themselves, they're just not true. And they've been layered upon layered upon layered upon layer of all these untruths that have caused us to live in fear, to distrust people, to distrust ourselves, to limit ourselves in terms of who we believe we are and what we're capable of creating in this world. And yet, as we continue to remove these layers, we realize that each layer that's removed, we become more empowered. The more empowered we are, the more, I'm going to say chances, the more chances we're willing to take. And of course, the more chances we're willing to take, the more opportunity we have to become more empowered and to create the life experiences that we want and to live in the world in the way that we would want to live, how we want to be perceived by everyone in the world. And we've also all heard that we all want to, if someone asks, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be perceived in the world? Most people will say, well, they want to be happy. They want to have raised their children well. They want to have had a good life. But most people also say, I want to have made a difference in the world. And one way that we make a difference is by continuously working towards our own truth, living in full expression of that truth. And as people see others living in full expression of their truth, they're more or less being given permission to do the same thing themselves. They're seeing that it's okay to be who you are, that you don't have to live up to the expectations of other people. You don't have to be who other people say you should be. We're all unique, and we're unique individuals, unique beings. We're all here as a different expression. And I'll just say that we all are an expression of the divine, and the divine is actually expressing and experiencing itself through us in our physical bodies. So really part and parcel, that's what I do and how I do it. That's the whole idea of living in full expression, removing those layers of untruths that others have heaped upon us, but we have accepted as true. And we can go through history. It's not just about the individual person. We can go through history. There is so much misinformation that's out there that people accept as true. And I would just say, and I don't want to get into a political discussion here, but so much of what's happening in the world right now politically, it's just one untruth after another. And quite honestly, I think it's becoming harder and harder to discern, what's right and what's not, or what's true and what's not true.
I choose to believe that nothing that's being said by anyone out there in politics is true at all, because just because they say it doesn't mean it's true. I want to let our audience know that I also, just in case anybody's wondering, I also follow Jim Phillips' system of asking the question out loud. I don't walk early in the morning in the dark because that's not what I do, but I do sit there and I always ask a question. I either ask, what is my next step? Why am I doing this? And what would you like me to do next? Or something similar, so that the burden is not all on me. And the critics come in. That's what I'll label what you heard, Jim, from some people. The voices that said, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are, etc. And that's just the way we've been brought up, to accept criticism as being smarter than we are, smarter than the divine. This is important information that I hope everyone re-listens to, because I usually advise people at the end of the podcast to re-listen to the podcast, because I know that they have not heard every word. And if they listen to all of your words, they will know what life is truly about. Why are we here? I say we are here to serve others. However we do that is a choice. You could be a school teacher, in the military, sell ice cream. You're here to share who you are, the divine part of who you are, hopefully, with other people. And I think, Jim's system, Jim's book, which is, again, The Key to Life, Living in Full Expression, is available on his website and also at Amazon. So, Jim, if I want you to give, as best you can, our listeners a few steps that they could take right now. They could, as soon as they finish listening to you, of course, but they could take action on right now to start listening to find out what the key to life is for them, how they could live life in full expression.
I think the first thing, I know the first thing that we need to do is we need to practice awareness. And that might sound like a strange thing, because either you're aware or you're not aware. But I'm talking about truly practicing awareness, paying attention to everything that's happening around you, and simultaneously paying attention to everything that's happening within you. And what you'll find is that there is a connection there. If you are feeling, I'm just going to use the word bad. If you're feeling bad or out of sorts inside, if you're feeling stressed or frustrated inside, the likelihood is if you look around you and outside of you, you're going to find that being reflected in some way, whether it's in the actions of other people, whether it's in the way you're acting towards other people. You're going to see that there is a correlation there. And by practicing awareness, we are in the present moment. We allow ourselves to be where we are, to attend to the feelings that we're having, to attend to the things that are happening outside of us that we can attend to. And I'm not suggesting we attend to everything, because other people have the things that they're being given to attend to that we have to be careful not to interfere with. Now, that doesn't mean we sit there and watch somebody do harm to themselves. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm just talking about making sure that we're paying attention to our feelings and what we're doing, and whether or not it would be appropriate for us to interact with somebody else when they might be going through something. So awareness to me is the key. And then within that awareness, though, it's the questioning of the thoughts and beliefs that we have. And if something comes up and it would hold you back or keep you from doing or being whatever it is that you have a strong desire to do or be. And remember what I said earlier, if you're intended to do something, if you're inspired to do something, it's intended to be. So if you're inspired to do something, you're talking yourself out of it by lunchtime, question it. Question why you're doing it, or why you feel it can't be done, or why you place so much value on other people's opinions. And that just comes out of the awareness of it. So you're becoming aware of your thoughts, your beliefs, then you're questioning, are they true? And I would suggest that if you ask, is this true? Your first response may be yes, because it's going to be a quick response. But then I would say, is it really true? And when you ask it that second time, is it really true? You're going to get the answer that you need to be able to move forward on that. And then I think the third thing is just being really clear on who it is you want to be, how you want to experience yourself in the world, how you want to be perceived in the world by other people, how you want your life to unfold. Because we have that power to create whatever life experience that we want. And the irony to all this is that people, when they think about wanting to create the life that they desire, and I'm just going to say a positive life or a more joyful life, we'll make a comment or we'll make a statement that we can't do that. And yet, the difficult, challenging life that we're living, we've created. So if we're powerful enough to create the challenging, difficult life, we certainly are powerful enough to create the more peaceful, joyful, happy life that we say we want. And it's a matter of making that conscious decision that that's what I want to experience, not this other experience that I've been having. And then I'll finish this with just two statements. And one is that we are far more powerful than we believe ourselves to be. And we're far more powerful than we give ourselves permission to be. And it's a simple matter of giving yourself permission.
Well, that's easy, but not. But I think I get what you're saying. People just get so in the rut with the way they're living their life where they're not happy that they don't realize that they created that, number one. They don't want to hear that they created that, number two. And to think that we have the power to change it by your thoughts and then hopefully a small plan behind that is very powerful. And I hope the people buy your book, The Key to Life, Living in Full Expression. That's the L.I.F.E, Living in Full Expression, people. I can't say that enough. And Jim Phillips' website is livinginfullexpression.com. What else would it be? I want to thank Jim for being here today and helping our audience in a different way, but in a way that I'm quite familiar with. And Jim and I can't be the only two crazy people in the world. So, well, we could be, but I don't think we are. So share this podcast with anyone you know, as well as listen to it over and over again, because I'm darn sure that you missed something. And then go to iTunes and please give our guest, Jim Phillips, a 5-star review, because I think he deserves it for what he's given you today. This is the first guest in a long time that I have not gotten into a full conversation early on, because what he had to say was so much in my wheelhouse and what I believe in that I just couldn't interrupt. And for those of you who want to check out my website, you can go to askjoannevictoria.com, and let's see, you can find a free book on my website. It's called The True Self Handbook, A Guide to Transform Your Life, and it's yours free. So I thank you for listening here today, everyone, and I thank Jim Phillips for being a great guest with a superb topic. And have a great day, everyone. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Sanity Project podcast. Please go to AskJoanneVictoria.com and continue the conversation on my podcast page. And get a free copy of my book, The True Self Handbook, A Guide to Transform Your Life. That's AskJoanneVictoria.com. Take care, and thanks for being here.